Good evening. Here we are again. I want to say our story hour, but it's our story half hour of Siddhartha by Herman Hesse. I'm going to begin again. I have not allowed myself to read ahead, so I am interested. We left off where Kamala, the courtesan, was intrigued by Siddhartha, and she actually gave him a kiss. And so now she has a client, because she's a prostitute, a client that has come, and so she's sending Siddhartha away, and that's where we begin. "I have a visitor," said Kamala. "Hurry and disappear, Siddhartha. Nobody must see you here. I will see you again tomorrow." However, she ordered the servant to give the holy Brahmin a white gown. Without quite knowing what was happening, Siddhartha was led away by the servant, conducted by a circuitous route to a garden house, presented with a gown, led into the thicket, and expressly instructed to leave the grove unseen as quickly as possible. Contentedly, he did what he was told. Accustomed to the forest, he made his way silently out of the grove and over the hedge. Contentedly, he returned to the town, carrying his rolled-up gown under his arm. He stood at the door of an inn where travelers met, silently begging for food and silently accepting a piece of rice cake. Perhaps tomorrow, he thought, I will not need to beg for food. He was suddenly overwhelmed with a feeling of pride. He was a samana no longer. It was no longer fitting that he should beg. He gave the rice cake to a dog and remained without food. The life that is lived here is simple, thought Siddhartha. It has no difficulties. Everything was difficult, irksome, and finally hopeless when I was a samana. Now, everything is easy as the instruction in kissing, which Kamala gives. I require clothes and money, that is all. These are easy goals which do not disturb one's sleep. He had long since inquired about Kamala's townhouse and called there the next day. "Things are going well," she called across to him. "Kamashwami expects you to call on him. He is the richest merchant in town. If you please him, he will take you into his service. Be clever, brown samana. I had your name mentioned to him through others. Be friendly towards him. He is very powerful, but not too modest. I do not want you to be his servant, but his equal. Otherwise, I shall not be pleased with you. Kamashwami is beginning to grow old and indolent. If you please him, he will place great confidence in you." Siddhartha thanked her and laughed. And when she learned that he had not eaten that day, nor the previous day, she ordered bread and fruit to be brought to him and attended him. "You have been lucky," she said to him on parting. "One door after the other is being opened to you. How does that come about? Have you a charm?" Siddhartha said, "Yesterday I told you I knew how to think, to wait, and to fast, but you did not consider these to be useful. But you will see that they are very useful, Kamala. You will see that the stupid samanas in the forest learn and know many useful things. The day before yesterday, I was still an unkempt beggar. Yesterday, I already kissed Kamala. And soon I will be a merchant and have money and all those things which you value." "Quite," she agreed. "But how would you have fared without me? Where would you be if Kamala did not help you?" My dear Kamala, said Siddhartha, when I came to you in your grove, I made the first step. It was my intention to learn about love from the most beautiful woman. From the moment I made that resolution, I also knew that I would execute it. I knew that you would help me. I knew it from your first glance at the entrance to the grove. And if I had not wanted, but you did want, listen, Kamala, when you throw a stone into the water, it finds the quickest way to the bottom of the water. It is the same when Siddhartha has an aim, a goal. Siddhartha does nothing. He waits, he thinks, he fasts. But he goes through the affairs of the world like a stone through the water, without doing anything, without bestirring himself. He is drawn and lets himself fall. He is drawn by his goal, for he does not allow anything to enter his mind which opposes his goal. That is what Siddhartha learned from the samanas. It is what fools call magic and what they think is caused by demons. Nothing is caused by demons. There are no demons. Everyone can perform magic. Everyone can reach his goal if he can think, wait, and fast. Kamala listened to him. She loved his voice. She loved the look in his eyes. Perhaps it is as you say, my friend, she said softly. And perhaps it is also because Siddhartha is a handsome man, because his glance pleases women, that he is lucky. Siddhartha kissed her and said goodbye. May it be so, my teacher. May my glance always please you. May good fortune always come to me from you. The next chapter is called Amongst the People. Siddhartha went to see Kamashwami, the merchant, and was shown into a rich house. Servants conducted him across costly carpets to a room where he waited for the master of the house. Kamashwami came in, a supple, lively man with graying hair, with clever, prudent eyes, and a sensual mouth. Master and visitor greeted each other in a friendly manner. I have been told, the merchant began, that you are a Brahmin, a learned man, but that you seek service with a merchant. Are you then in need, Brahmin, that you seek service? No, replied Siddhartha, I am not in need, and I have never been in need. I have come from the samanas, with whom I have lived for a long time. If you come from the samanas, how is it that you are not in need? Are not all of the samanas completely without possessions? I possess nothing, said Siddhartha, if that is what you mean. I am certainly without possessions, but of my own free will, so I am not in need. But how will you live if you are without possessions? I have never thought about it, sir. I have been without possessions for nearly 3 years, and I have never thought on what I should live. So you have lived on the possessions of others? Apparently. The merchant also lives on the possessions of others. Well spoken, but he does not take from others for nothing. He gives his goods in exchange. That seems to be the way of things. Everyone takes, everyone gives. Life is like that. Ah, but if you are without possessions, how can you give? Everyone gives what he has. The soldier gives strength, the merchant goods, the teacher instructions, the farmer rice. The fisherman, fish. Very well. And what can you give? What have you learned that you can give? I can think. I can wait. I can fast. Is that all? I think that is all. And of what use are they? For example, fasting, what good is that? It is of great value, sir. If a man has nothing to eat, fasting is the most intelligent thing that he can do. If, for instance, Siddhartha had not learned to fast, he would have had to seek some kind of work today, either with you or elsewhere, for hunger would have driven him. But as it is, Siddhartha can wait calmly. He is not impatient. He is not in need. He can ward off hunger for a long time and laugh at it. Therefore, fasting is useful, sir. You are right, Samana. Wait a moment. Kamaswami went out and returned with a roll which he handed to his guest and inquired, "Can you read this?" Siddhartha looked at the roll on which a sales agreement was written and began to read the contents. "Excellent," said Kamaswami. "And will you write something for me on this sheet?" He gave him a sheet and a pen, and Siddhartha wrote something and returned the sheet. Kamaswami read, "Writing is good, thinking is better. Cleverness is good, patience is better." "You write very well," the merchant praised him. "We shall still have plenty to discuss, but today I invite you to be my guest and to live in my house." Siddhartha thanked him and accepted. He now lived in the merchant's house. Clothes and shoes were brought to him, and a servant prepared him a bath daily. Splendid meals were served twice a day, but Siddhartha only ate once a day, and neither ate meat nor drank wine. Kamaswami talked to him about his business, showed him goods and warehouses and accounts. Siddhartha learned many new things. He heard much and said little. And remembering Kamala's words, he was never servile to the merchant, but compelled him to treat him as an equal, and even more than an equal. Kamaswami conducted his business with care and often with passion, but Siddhartha regarded it all as a game, the rules of which he endeavored to learn well, but which did not stir his heart. He was not long in Kamaswami's house when he was already taking a part in his master's business. Daily, however, at the hour she invited him, he visited the beautiful Kamala in his handsome clothes, in fine shoes, and soon he also brought her presents. He learned many things from her wise red lips. He who was still a boy as regards love, and was inclined to plunge to the depths of it blindly and insatiably, was taught by her that one cannot have pleasure without giving it, and that every gesture, every caress, every touch, every glance, every single part of the body had its secret, which can give pleasure to one who can understand. She taught him that lovers should not separate from each other after making love without admiring each other, without being conquered as well as conquering, so that no feelings of satiation or desolation arises, nor the horrid feeling of misusing or having been misused. He spent wonderful hours with the clever, beautiful courtesan, and became her pupil, her lover, her friend. Here with Kamala lay the value and meaning of his present life, not in Kamaswami's business. The merchant passed on to him the writing of important letters and orders, and grew accustomed to conferring with him about all important affairs. He soon saw that Siddhartha understood little about rice and wool, shipping and trade, but that he had a happy knack and surpassed the merchant in calmness and equanimity, and in the art of listening and making a good impression on strange people. "This Brahmin," he said to a friend, "is no real merchant and will never be one. He is never absorbed in the business. But he has a secret with those people to whom success comes by itself, whether it is due to being born under a lucky star, or whether it is magic, or whether he has learned it from the samanas. He always seems to be playing at business. It never makes much impression on him, never masters him. He never fears failure. He is never worried about a loss.